Welcome back to Visual Basic Express 2012 for business programming. This is a quick look at the select statement. I've already written some code, but we've just reused this form that I had before. This is a select statement. Now, first thing to remember is that this idea, select, it's called switch in C. It can be quite hard to remember what the syntax is for it. I certainly forget because I'm changing between languages a lot. If I can remember it's called select, the IDE can bring up this snippet. Notice over here it says tab twice to insert the select snippet. So I can do that and it brings up the framework of a basic select case statement. And that saves you having to remember all of the precise details. So and it also even gives you help here. So that says that you need to replace it with an expression, and this means you need to replace it with a valid value of the expression. Okay. So we can select on a variable name or indeed an expression, but we'll just look at a variable name to start with. I've set this up to run. It's going to take item as an integer from text box 2, and then it's going to select based on the case on which item, what value item has. So you can see I've written a number of case statements here. Case 2, so if it's 2, then we print it to 2. If it's 1 to 8, we just print the number on the screen. If it's 7 to 12, we're going to print higher numbers. If it's 3, 6, 9 or 12, we're going to print that it's divisible by 3. If it's value mod 5, if you remember we did that in an earlier session, is equal to 0, that means it's divisible by 5, and otherwise we'll just have it's a number result. Okay, this may not run the way you expect. In C, it would go through and it would do each of the cases until it encountered a break statement. Now, in VB, it doesn't. When it does its first case statement, it then stops. So if I run this and put in 2, that will work. It'll say it's 2. That's the first one in the list. If we put in 3 and test it, it does 3 from this piece here, where we're putting the string value, a string equivalent of the item in. But you'll notice it then hasn't done this one. It's not matched with case 3, 6, 9, 12. And that's always going to be the case. Whereas if I put in 15, we can see it goes all the way through because none of these are true for 15. Yeah, that is true for 15. We'll explore that in a moment. It's not recognized this case statement as being correct, whereas it's jumped through to the bottom condition. So that was interesting. I didn't expect that at all, I must admit. It should really have identified this as being a valid match. So let's just put brackets around it for start with. That doesn't make much difference normally in VB, but it helps me be sure. And I'm going to put a breakpoint on here. I'm going to run it again and put 15 in here and test. Right, we can highlight this and do a quick watch. It's certainly a true value, but of course this isn't an if statement. It's not that these are true. 1 to 8 isn't a true statement. It's only true in connection with the item. So we can go in here. That's not, it's skipping over these as we walk through. Notice this is a step over. I can use a step into it. It's going to do the same thing. Now this one I rather expected to match. It's still not going to. And it's intriguing that Visual Basic actually allows you to have an expression like this which doesn't match. So that's something to watch out for. It's generally best to stick with explicit values within case statements. But of course, if you've got a large range of variable values, that can cause you a lot of problems. So have a play with case statements, think about how they're different to the ones in C. They're basically there to save you having lots of nested ifs, but the if statements would handle some criteria better than the case statement does. So yeah, have a play. It's a number.